You know, driving in the cab from the airport, I saw Tina signs on the sides of buildings and things promoting the show.
Yay!
Obviously, it's still going on, but do you miss her a little bit?
Oh, I got her. We got her on Apple Music. I got her on iTunes. What do you mean? And she was a mentor to me during the process. So
Yeah.
Tina's with me always.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No one will believe it. What they did. People need to know. And you will tell them.
Of course.
And you will show them. Take his picture as he is.
Yes, ma'am.
What are y'all waiting for? I want a public wake. Tonight. Open casket. And I don't want you doing a thing to him.
With all due respect, photos in a magazine are one thing. People are going to see him up close. Let me fix him up so he's presentable.
I am not asking. Let the people see what they did to my boy.
Welcome to the Actors Side. Today, you know her, of course, if you saw Tina on Broadway or on the West End or wherever she has played that. Tony Award winner, very exciting. Reigning Tony Award winner,
It's
too.
true.
For an amazing performance, which I saw before the lockdown, before all that happened.
Wow, yeah.
And extraordinary, of course, not your first rodeo on Broadway. Was nominated for Shuffle Along and has done so much great film work as well. One thing we're going to talk about is Women of the Movement,
Yes.
which was on a broadcast network, which is rare these days. Everything streams and things. You played Mamie Till Mobley, who was the mother of Emmett Till, who was so tragically murdered. And of course, that case is notorious.
Yeah.
But this story is of his mother and her civil rights movement activity, breakthroughs, pioneering, whatever you want to call it. She was a real leader.
Yeah.
And she became that out of tragedy.
Yes.
And amazing performance there, too.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Actors Side. And Women of the Movement, how did that come about? Because you were doing Tina, right?
Yeah.
And then shooting this during the pandemic?
Yeah.
When Tina had to shut down?
Yes. So Gina Prince Bythewood was our director for our pilot.
Yeah.
And I had the honor of basically just meeting her on a Zoom. Everyone was doing Zoom meetings, right? And so I met Gina on a Zoom and we hit it off right away. And she was working on this project. And after we met, she put me on the short list and I got the audition. And I don't know how I got the job, but I got the job. And I'm really grateful for it because it was a story that I grew up knowing about, but I didn't know enough about Mamie. And that was why I wanted to be attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, she's a remarkable woman, not the least of which making that decision to have the open casket funeral there, which was very controversial at the time.
Yes.
But very meaningful, I thought.
Some would argue and say that that was her choice to do that. She was really the catalyst to the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you play, obviously a real person, you know, Tina Turner, a real person too.
Yeah.
You're doing those kind of things simultaneously. Is there a different vibe for you as an actor in doing that?
Yes, it requires all of you. It requires I changed my body for Tina. I changed my body for Mamie. I really, really wanted to feel like a mom. I wanted to have the body and physique of a woman in the 50s.
Yeah.
And I wanted to really just dive in head first, every part of myself. And I do that for all of my projects because it means so much to me, especially when you're telling someone else's story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's I take great responsibility in that.
And very strong women's stories here.
Yes.
Women, they're different, obviously, Tina Turner and Mamie, but they both are coming from the same place, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yes, they're extremely resilient. They're extremely strong. They've gone through so much. They come out on the other side as warriors, and it's unfortunate that they had to go through what they went through to do so.
Yeah. When you say warrior, you're another movie.
Oh my gosh. Segue. I did.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
The Woman King with Viola Davis.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of footage from it because I was at CinemaCon
Oh,
in
yes.
Las Vegas.
You've seen I haven't even seen it yet.
Oh, my God.
No, I don't know.
Intense, but I'll ask you about that because
Okay.
that's also based on real events.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So this all happened, you know, obviously many years ago, but it seems more relevant now in a weird way, particularly after George Floyd and all of that happened
Yeah.
during this period as well.
Yes.
All this was being made.
Yes. One of the things about telling this story is even though while we were shooting it, we were doing a period piece, it didn't feel like we were because it is still happening today, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And there are mothers who are still going through what Mamie went through. And the beauty of the way MJ, so our writer and creator, the way in which she put this story together, she really wanted everyone to see this family and see their family in this family, to see their son in Mamie, no matter who you are, to know that Mamie could be you.
Right.
You know, or to see their son in Emmett, excuse me, and that maybe Mamie could be you. And so then we can have a little bit more empathy towards each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so amazing the way it unraveled and everything there with her. I can't imagine the amount of courage it took.
Yes.
You know, for her. I mean, it's just almost hard to comprehend.
It's actually interesting that you say that because while we were shooting, I got to a point where I couldn't actually understand her courage.
Really?
I was doing these scenes and I was fully committed, but I would go home at night and I would just say, I don't actually understand how she's going through it. Because I would have moments as Adrienne when I am being Mamie on set, but I would have moments as Adrienne, also as a Black woman who is not a mother yet, but hopefully one day I will be.
Yeah.
And I couldn't actually understand how she made the choices she made, how she was able to stand up and do the things that she did and sit in that courtroom and hear these people tear apart her child,
I know.
refer to him as a man, her baby, and not have a visceral emotional reaction in that courtroom. I didn't understand. And to this day, I still don't.
It's unimaginable,
Yeah.
really, you know, that she would even put herself through that,
Right.
you know, and that level of emotion that she's going through. But you said you had a hard time doing that, but you got to do it as an actor.
Exactly.
You got to. So what's your technique or process in getting to that point?
Yeah, I was really grateful to have incredible directors and people around me and artists around me who were supporting me through every step of the way.
Well, Gina's wonderful director.
Gina, Tina Mabry, we had all women and they're all Black women and many of them were moms. And so I felt like I was really taken care of, which allowed me to go as deep as I possibly could. We were so blessed to have help on set, therapists on set if we needed them, if we needed to talk to anyone, they were there with us. I used a lot of music. I made a whole playlist. I'm very big on music when I dive into a role. And it really kept me in the emotional spaces that I need to stay in. And also going home and taking care of myself, if that's like having taco night or having my dog with me in Mississippi, which is really helpful to have that family that family feel when I went home, that I knew that I was able to leave the work at work and come home and actually find my joy and peace again, because I had to for this particular role.
I think this is such an important series. I'm happy Broadcast Network's doing it, because mainly they're interested in procedurals and sitcoms. But this is coming out of a left field for a network to put on a show like this.
It's huge. And I'm so grateful that they did, because, and not just because it gave me a job, but because her story is told. And because there are a lot of people, including teachers, who now use this limited series as a part of their curriculum. Wow. And that is so special. And that's why we wanted to do it. And for ABC to take that leap, and that was a huge leap of faith. It really was. Because no one's actually seen his body on screen before. And it was risky. Yeah. And I'm really grateful they took that leap. I hope it leads
to more. And I know you have a development deal with Capitol Entertainment, which produced it. Yeah. And so you're looking to take this further.
I am.
Actually create roles like this that don't just come, your way all that easily.
Absolutely. Create roles, create opportunities for other people. I'm really blessed and excited to jump into these new producer shoes.
There are so many actors I talk to who are producing now, and really producing, which is great. Is that necessary now? I mean, really, you've got to take matters in your own hands.
Is it necessary? I don't know about that. Is it
to get good roles? I mean, to get really good roles.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of great work happening right now, and there sure isn't a shortage of content. So there's a lot going on right now, and a lot of great stories being told. So I don't think that, but if you have the opportunity to produce, I've always wanted to. Yeah. So the fact that it's kind of, and even doing Broadway theater, I've always created new shows in my career thus far. So being a part of that creative process, I've been doing that for so long. Yeah. So I didn't know at the time, but I was learning how to put together a show, learning how to build, work. And I'm excited to take that further.
You were lucky enough to be able to go back to Broadway when it reopened, because you had to shut the show down, obviously. All of Broadway shut down, everyone knows. And then you came back in it. I'm wondering the experience of making this, if it informed your performance that you do 8 times a week in a different way.
It did.
Did it really?
It absolutely did. Number one, I wasn't quite as in shape as I was when we came back. I had to go from Mamie back to Tina in a matter of 3 months, which was terrifying. And it allowed me to have more fun. I think the first time around, I was so stressed about making sure that the show was a success and doing my best to, you have awards and everything's going on, and you just want to do your best to do right by the show and do right by Tina. Because of Mamie, because of everything that I went through doing this role, it allowed me to actually take advantage of the joy in my life and the people that I love around me. And I think I went into my rehearsal space with more joy in my heart, just appreciating life and how precious it is. I definitely had more fun the second time around, for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you, driving in the cab from the airport, I saw Tina signs on the sides of buildings and things promoting the show. Obviously, it's still going on, but do you miss her a little bit?
I got her. We got her on Apple Music. I got her on iTunes. What do you mean? And she was a mentor to me during the process. So Tina's with me always.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And it's opened up, I imagine, lots of opportunities too, because it's so high profile. People see you in that way. They see you in Women in the Movement, and they are going to see you in the Woman King. And that looks fierce from the footage I've seen. I know it opens in September, but a major studio doing that movie, Sony. Yeah. What was that like? Because that's a period piece set in the 18th century?
Yes. Yeah. What was that like? It was incredible and incredibly painful.
It looks like it's pretty fierce.
Yeah, I don't take easy roles, do I?
No, I'm going to say you had to get into shape for that one.
I did, yeah. We all did. And oh man, did we? It was the first time I'd done an action film as well. So it was all a new experience. We had so much fun. Also, being in a cast of that many incredible women, like the talent is just ridiculous. It's an embarrassment of riches, really.
Right.
And I was just so happy to be there and support Viola and Gina Prince Bythewood directing as well.
I know.
And yeah, so it felt like, working with family by the end.
And you know what was interesting? At CinemaCon, the woman presenting it from the studio is head of TriStar and is also a Black woman, which is very unusual to have the top executive at the studio and everybody else, most of the people behind the scenes and in front.
Yep. It's
Isn't that
unusual,
amazing?
but it needs to be. It needs to be the norm.
So times they are changing.
Times are changing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What kinds of things are you looking to develop? What kind of things can you give me a little scoop on here?
Yeah, I'm looking to develop anything that makes people of color seen as full human beings, like three-dimensional beings. And I just want to be a part of anything that shows our joy, anything that evokes joy, and real life stories, and just anything that moves me and moves a conversation forward in the society in the way in which I feel like it should.
Yeah. We've got the Tonys coming up.
Yeah.
And I mentioned you won the Tony there. For that, what was that like?
What was that like?
Yeah.
It was my dream come true.
Did you practice the speech when you were a kid?
I did. I did. And I never do that. And I definitely did for the Tonys. I've always watched it as a kid. I could never imagine sitting there with my parents. I sat with my parents every Tony season in our living room, and then sitting there with them that day and being able and hearing my name and seeing that audience stand up, which was crazy to me. I was like, "What do you mean? This is my first Tony. Why are you guys standing up?" This doesn't happen. I felt incredibly loved by the community, and I love the theater community so much, and I felt extremely embraced. And also for my nonprofit, Broadway Advocacy Coalition, we also got a special Tony Award.
You did get a special Tony, and you're the co-founder of that, right?
Co-founder of Broadway Advocacy Coalition. So I felt like I was getting one for my talent, and then I was getting one which felt like from my heart, which was really, really special.
You're probably the first person in Tony history that happened to. Getting
probably.
On the same
I don't
night.
know.
Wow. I just said it.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not,
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Did you always want to be an actor? Was that it?
No, I wanted to be a basketball player.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's still time.
No, I know. There's not, because I stopped growing. It was a whole thing. That's why I stopped. Yeah. But I wanted to be an athlete growing up. My parents are athletes. My dad's a coach. And I grew up in a, athletic household, and everyone's a teacher and academic in my family. So that was the direction I was going in. And then I ended up being a singer and an actor and a performer.
Well, you did Bring It On. That was your first Broadway show.
It was.
And that was sort of in that area.
It was like a cheerleader, but
I know,
like,
but
it's
close.
different. It is close. And cheerleaders are athletes. And I didn't think that when I was in high school. And after doing Bring It On, I was like, I will never see that again.
Oh my God, I saw that show too, and believe me, they are athletes.
Athletes.
There's no question.
Absolutely.
What was your parents' reaction when you got Tina? I'm curious, were they going like, Tina Turner?
My dad said, "Champ, you can't do that." Like, he says that though when I get any role. He's like, "Maybe, I don't know, babe." He's like, "I don't know if that." He's like, "Adrienne, that's our story." I'm like, "Dad, I can do it." So anytime he says you can't do it, it's like my good luck charm. I'm like, "Say I can't do it, because I'll be able to do it."
Wow, wait till he sees the Woman King.
I know. I didn't tell him much about that, but that's on purpose. Yeah.
You're so great. You're fun.
Thank
Adrienne
you.
Warren, good luck going forward with everything.
Thank
if you haven't seen Women of the Movement, check it out.
It's on Hulu now.
It's on Hulu, like everything on ABC goes to Hulu, which is great because it has a life afterwards, and it's well worth seeing. And thank you so much for joining us on The Accolades.
Thank you for having me.